Welcome to Sacredly Selfish, a space where we flip the script on what it means to choose yourself.
I'm Megan, and together with Raju, we're diving into raw, real conversations that explore self love, boundaries, healing, and what happens when women stop abandoning themselves and start living in alignment.
Because being selfish isn't wrong. When it's sacred, it's revolutionary.
We're so glad you're here. Now, let's get selfish. Welcome back to another episode of Sacredly Selfish. Today, we actually have an announcement to make. Some changes are coming, and there are some shifts that are going to be taking place. And we wanted to take this episode to walk you through our thought process, what's come up for us in making this decision. So I'll let Raju take it away.
Yeah, Sacredly Selfish is probably going to be changing into, it's going to take a new little turn in where this brand is going to be going. There was a lot of thought and love, tears, and joy that all came into the decision that we ultimately made over the last couple of weeks. Actually, we've probably been talking about it for at least a month now, but there has been some changes that are coming and it's going to look different, but it's going to be beautiful. And I'm excited to see where this goes. But I will be leaving Sacredly Selfish. This is my last episode that I am recording, and it's been a beautiful 6 months recording and really, allowing you guys to have be this little fly on the wall to hear mine and Megan's life together and the things that we have been, doing to better our life and grow our life. However, I have made the decision to step away from Sacredly Selfish altogether, including the full brand, not just the podcast. And that decision was not made lightly. It really was something that I think was at the back of my mind, I would say probably since February. And I wasn't able to really process it and understand what was going on and why I wasn't finding that joy and spark in recording. And it almost started feeling like this kind of like a chore when I had to get on and record, and I was finding that I felt like I was drowning in my life, my personal life, while trying to do something that was meant to be fun and just something that was supposed to be only for me as Raju versus being like a mom and all of that. So I was having a difficult time processing that because I'm like, "Hey, this is something you're doing that's for yourself. That doesn't have the mom title to it. That doesn't have the daughter title to it or the widow title or anything to it. It's just you, yourself expressing your life and your emotions and your feelings to our audience. Yet why is this feeling like it's becoming a burden on my life? And I kind of sat there feeling like, "Oh no, like why are you feeling this way?" You're almost it's like giving up in a sense, right? So I kept powering through it. I kept scheduling these episodes to be recorded and trying to find, that worked perfectly for Megan and my schedule. And we have two very different schedules. Her work is shift work, so it does rotate quite a bit. And for me, I just only have weekends off. And it came to the point where I just felt like I just didn't have capacity. So I originally had decided that I was going to just take a break, take a pause, and I brought this conversation up with Megan. And the beauty in our friendship is that I was comfortable enough to have this conversation after I had actually thought it through. I didn't just kind of come up with this decision out of the blue. It was something that was on my mind for a while. And I had this very open, raw conversation with Megan, and you were so welcoming and open to my thoughts and open to my opinions and really understanding where I was coming from. And it just didn't feel right for me to continue in that moment. So we decided we were just going to take a break from recording. And that's kind of how March went. We didn't really record anything and we took this break. And then it was kind of like, okay, what is Sacredly Selfish going to look like? And originally I was like, I will pop on here and there and decide like, when I want to come in, when I feel capacity there is, I will be jumping in and recording episodes. But as Megan and I had further discussions, it came to that the brand just wasn't going to work in that direction that I was kind of thinking originally. And I almost needed permission for Megan to kind of bring that up to me like, hey, are you willing to be in it 100%? If you're not, then we kind of need to think of something else that's going to happen in terms of sacredly selfish. And I knew inside of me that I was not even wanting to do the podcast anymore, but I just could not. I think I could not process that something that we had worked for the last year so hard for, cultivated it, grown it. It was our baby. It was something that was just Megan and mine. And it was such a huge expansion in our friendship. I just could not process ending that completely. But I knew that was the best decision. So after some tears and sadness, not sadness, I wasn't sad that I had to make that decision. I knew that decision was from such a grounded, beautiful place. It was more so just sadness of like ending this part of our friendship and what we have grown together. So it was definitely was hard. And I know it's the best decision to make for myself and for Megan and for Sacredly Selfish. And I know there's so much more for me out there, and there are some ideas I have that will, flourish and grow into what they need to be when the time is right. But for right now, my focus is more so my children because they are so little. And I think any moms out there will understand why I ended up making this decision because my kids, when you have such young kids and you're so busy and you're working full time, it's difficult to find that space. And I thought I would be able to do it, and I just wasn't it just was not working, and it was starting to become to the point where I almost was resenting recording, and I didn't want that to happen because I didn't feel like the quality of the episodes would have been what you guys all deserve, and the brand just wouldn't be sacredly selfish if I was doing it from, like, a resentment place.
First of all, you bringing it up to me to begin with, that is so huge to be open and to have that conversation, especially since it is something that we cultivated together and we really grew this. And like, we were so excited, so excited. And I feel like sometimes we as people think that, oh, because we are so excited and this is something new and we're putting ourselves out there, that we have to make it work. And so we try to put all the puzzle pieces together and we try to make it fit when sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And that could be in relationship as well. It's like you care for it so much, you love it so much. It doesn't mean that you don't, but you also have to understand and feel inside of your body, like, is this actually working for me? And so have felt it for quite some time that your heart wasn't in it. And I never brought it up because again, it's like navigating. Obviously, you have so much going on in your life. So it's like, okay, let's take a little break here or let's not record here and trying to find a nice balance where this could work for the both of us. And but noticing like on the record, like when we would come to record that you just didn't, that spark wasn't there anymore. And I noticed that. And so for you, I kind of had like an inkling that something was going on. And then you had said something in a text message. And I was like, then my saboteur is like, oh God, what's happening? Like in my head, I was like, how does this work? Like what is she thinking? Cause I felt like I didn't know like all the ins and outs. And so then I was just straight up, I was like, "Oh, can you, like, do a video call with me? Like, what do you mean by that?" Because I didn't want to let my saboteur run and overthink that, like, "Oh, she wants to do this or she wants to, go on her own way," or whatever it may be, which I would be happy for you regardless of what you chose to do. But it's just that unknown of like, "Oh, what is she actually thinking?" And so when you were so kind to, like, jump on a video call with me right then and there, and you put my mind at ease, and it was kind of more when you were speaking, it was very grounded. It was like you knew at that point that you needed to take a break for sure because you weren't feeling the spark. Like you didn't really want to be a part of the whole podcasting part of it all. And I understood that like completely. I feel like we had such great communication that day. It's being open and vulnerable with what you need with the people who love you, and I could have taken it like a completely different route, and like if I was in my saboteur, not giving her, like making it about me instead of actually listening to what she had to say and how she was feeling about the situation. And so we had a beautiful chat and we let it sit there. And we're like, okay, well, then I'm going on a trip. I guess by the time this episode comes out, I'll be gone for a month. And so I was like, okay, now I got to refocus, reshift. Okay, what are the episodes going to look like? How am I going to now take this on and just like focus it a little bit and like recording just by myself, doing solo episodes. So I had a lot going through my mind at that time because I was like, okay, she wants to pop in here and there. She wants to maybe do some reels or something that's like finding that creative juice again, which is fair. Like you have to find what makes you happy, and you don't do that unless you have trial and error. So we let a few weeks go by, and I think I was about to start recording because I was like, we're gonna need some episodes, and that's when I felt in my body that I was confused. Then I started having feelings kind of come up of love because I think I had asked you something in a voice note about the podcast, or, oh, I was going to record or something like that. And when you responded back, you had all this excitement again for the podcast and like having ideas. And then I was set in a place of confusion. And I could have just let it lay and just, okay, let her figure it out. But then I was also looking at like, that's not really fair to me. And so I had an open conversation and she took it so freaking amazingly and just saying what I needed. So like she shared what she needed. Then we took like some time and I shared what I needed. And we came to this beautiful place of where she really knew deep down. And again, like as you were saying, Raju, it's like you knew, but it was like pulling that final string. It's like, okay, you know it's there, but it's like you're holding on because you really don't know. Like it's like, okay, I know, but I don't know. It's like that whole thing in the explant episode of like I knew, but I didn't want to realize it, and that's okay. Like it takes time to like go through all the motions, and that's the thing, feel your feelings. So she was going through and alchemizing and feeling into all of the things that were taking place for her without me knowing. And I think that is really important. That's a really good takeaway too. Like when you are going to come and have a conversation with someone, you don't do it in the heat of the moment when you haven't processed everything that you're feeling on the inside, because how can you throw that onto another person when you don't even yourself know why you're feeling how you're feeling?
Yeah, and I think with all of that, I already knew deep down what I wanted, and that's why the decision came so clear and so loud, and I was able to make the decision very quickly after you had that final conversation, right? Saying like, "Okay, where are we going with this? Because you're confused with it." And what one thing I think to highlight is why I knew this was the right direction for me, because normally when you start something like this where you've only had a podcast for less than 6 months, you may start thinking you failed in something, right? Oh, I failed in that, I'm a failure, how this is so embarrassing, all of that. That's what my old me would have done. None of those thoughts came through my mind. I was like, oh my God, look at you, Raju. You were so afraid to have your face out on a public platform. You got out there, you shared tiny bits of my story. I know I never really got deep into my story, but who knows? In the future, maybe you guys will hear that. But you shared such vulnerable parts of yourself. You were afraid of like coming on camera and people seeing your face. And here you are sitting most of the time makeup free on your episode and doing it. And you took the step. We took the step together to do something so big that most people are afraid to do. So there's no failure in that. And for me, that was a huge thing where I was like, it feels so good in a sense. Like it feels like a release in a way. Like the decision doesn't feel like it's a burden on Megan. It doesn't feel like it's a burden on me. It doesn't feel like it's a disappointment to you or to myself. It feels like this beautiful release in me where it's my truth. And I
Mhm.
went with my truth and I went with what I wanted to do. And you took that so well. And I really want to highlight the fact that I am so proud of our friendship because I had mentioned this to you, Megan, that something like this could have been taken in many different contexts and different
Mhm.
ways. You could have taken this and been really upset with it. You could have felt like I didn't think that, you and I were a good team or whatever it may have been. You could have said, "Oh, you're just being selfish in this. We started this together." It could have went in so many different directions.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. That's not our friendship. And for me, the most important thing in this is our friendship. And I didn't want to keep doing this just to keep you happy, but
Mhm.
then to have both of us miserable and this huge resentment to be built up in our friendship that could possibly, you know, t- separate us from our closeness. And I was really proud of the way we both handle this. And like, there's not a single part inside of us that feels like, how dare Megan wanna take this on herself and not have, me even a tiny bit a part of it? Or you saying, "How dare she wants to leave this when we spent the last year planning this and getting it going over the last 6 months and all of this?" There's none of that, and it's just all love, and it's, like, so much support on both ends, and that's exactly what sacredly selfish is. We take care of ourselves, we tend to our own needs, and then we go and we speak it, and we say it from such a loving place. And when you come from that place, the person that's receiving it will receive it with so much warmth, right?
I totally agree. And I think, as you're saying, this could have ruined a friendship. Like, you
Mhm.
wanting to leave or me wanting to take it on myself and like doing all the things that could have totally ruined this friendship. And our number one goal was to always hold on to
Put
this
us
because it
first.
was, yeah, hold on to you and I because we come first. Our friendship always comes first. And then we were like there was some clashing when it came to like finding time and doing all the things, and that wasn't what this was about. Like this was something fun, and this is, I want everyone to realize, this is like, you have to try and do new things. It doesn't mean you failed if you don't like it, or if your feelings shift when it comes to whatever it is you're doing. It's realizing, oh, this is actually just not working for me right now. That's not to say you're never going to come and maybe do an episode or share your story. Like maybe I'll have you on as a guest or whatever, however the shift may look. And this is just the beauty of our friendship. I just love that we are able to be open and honest with each other because you're right. We take care of ourselves first, then we present it. And I also want to highlight, like, not everybody is, and you're not responsible for how someone else is going to respond. And just as long as you're doing it from the heart, and as long as you're not confused on what you're trying to share and like processing your feelings before even bringing it up to a person, I think that goes a long way. So as we shift now into a new dynamic, there are new things coming for Sacredly Selfish. I've actually had like so much creative energy come through after we made this decision. I'm going to take a bit of a break cuz obviously I'll be in Europe for a month, and I'll keep you guys updated on Instagram when more things are to come. I'm imagining that more in June, there'll be some more episodes that come through and taking season 2 in another direction.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just wanna say thank you to everyone that supported Megan and I together as a great team, and we really appreciate it from the bottom of our heart, and I'm excited for you guys, and I'm excited to see where Sacredly Selfish goes, and this is not goodbye. I will see you guys soon again, but thank you so much, and we love you guys so much, and thank you for supporting Sacredly Selfish. Until next time, Megan.
Thanks for tuning in to Sacredly Selfish. Stay connected with us on Instagram and TikTok at Sacredly Selfish. And if this episode spoke to you, be sure to follow, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs the reminder that choosing yourself is sacred, not selfish.